I'm just so tired of pasta. Okay, I'm kicking off part 3 of this series with, this is actually the last day of summer, so I'm not much of a summer person, but I love summer produce, so I thought I'd have a pasta salad that celebrates summer produce, tomatoes and cucumbers and fresh herbs. Basically, I made a pesto out of most of my basil and tarragon that was left in my garden, some pine nuts, some olive oil, and Parmesan cheese, salt and pepper, and then I mixed that with some bow tie pasta and a bunch of other salad-y ingredients. Feta, artichoke hearts, black olives, tomatoes, cucumbers, a little minced shallot, and then I finished with a little hard-boiled egg for some extra protein, plus I just had extra hard-boiled eggs in the fridge and thought, let's get rid of these. Anyway, I make this sort of thing usually once a year in the summertime. For me, I really like pesto best when it's in a colder or room temperature fresh application like this. Yeah, this is so bright and it has a lot of different things going on, which is really nice. You have briny olives and briny artichoke hearts and briny feta, and then you have fresh, cool, crisp, refreshing cucumbers, and you have sweet and sour pops of tomato, and then just the umami bomb of the pesto. And the hard-boiled eggs are also a nice welcome, like, bland break in the salad, so to keep everything from being too intense. Yeah, this is a really nice, refreshing summer salad, perfect thing to eat on a hot day. I'm gonna give it a 8 out of 10.
Excuse me, young man.
Oh! Okay, I love lemons, so I wanted to try this dish. It's a classic dish and extremely simple. I have a little extra lemon on the side in case I need it. Oh, I forgot to bring the salt with me. I hope I seasoned this enough. Anyway, basically, it's an extremely simple butter sauce. You melt some butter and garlic and lemon zest in a skillet and cook it very gently while you boil some pasta, in this case spaghetti, and then you save some pasta water. You drain the pasta, put it in the skillet with the butter and garlic and lemon zest and some salt and pepper and pasta water, and you stir it around until it creates an emulsion. And then you add in a little bit of grated hard cheese. I used pecorino, and then you garnish with more lemon zest. I have a piece of hair in my mouth. Blech. All right, let's try it. Like I said, I love lemon. I've made something sort of similar to this before, like sometimes in the summer, when I was younger especially, I would saute spaghetti in olive oil with some summer squash maybe, or some other summery veggie, and then I put a little lemon juice in there just to brighten it up in the end, but this is like just the lemon juice and it's a little extra. The cheese is mostly just a background note to add, you know, to provide support. It's not at all cheesy, and I don't think I'd want it to necessarily be. If you don't like lemon, you're probably not gonna like this, but if you love lemon like me, you're probably gonna like this. And you can customize it, like you can add extra lemon if you want to. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. But on its own, it's not really much of a meal. There's not very much substance to it, so I've roasted some broccoli on the side, and I have a feeling that is going to be a really delightful pairing. Here, look, I'm inventing a new pasta, lemon broccoli pasta. Oh yeah, that's even better. That's what the pasta romalu tempu, that Sicilian pasta with broccoli that from the last video, that's what that pasta wishes it were. This is great. So just the pasta on its own, I'll give it, you know, as is, I suppose. Like, I like it, but it's really more like a snack or a side dish. I would give that pasta like a 5 or a 6 out of 10. But with the broccoli added, the richness of the, because I doused it in oil before I roasted it. The broccoli adds a lot to it. With the broccoli, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. And I think we're on to something. I think if I added maybe some toasted pine nuts and maybe a little more cheese to this, we'd have something really nice on our hands. What do you think, Fatty? He doesn't care.
Sorry, young lady, can you please move?
Okay, real talk, the only reason I included this vegan pasta in the month is because I still have some nutritional yeast that I have to get rid of. Anyway, I made this when I did Veganuary. I was vegan for the entire month of January. Go watch that video series after you're done with this one. But yeah, basically this is a creamy, cheesy, in air quotes, vegan pasta that is made with pantry staples, and you can kind of customize it and add whatever veggies you have lying around that you need to get rid of, and I did just that. You build a sauce by sauteing in some oil, some onion, garlic, and in my case mushrooms, because I had these very old, sad, dried mushrooms that I had to get rid of. And then you add some flour to make a roux, and then this is where things got a little bit off script. I accidentally splashed in way too much soy sauce. It's really hard to cook when you're filming things, by the way, guys. And some tahini and some plant-based milk. I used some soy milk that I still had that was about to go bad. And then you add a mess of aromatics that mimic cheese and meat and stuff. Smoked paprika, mustard powder, red pepper flake, and nutritional yeast. And then I stirred in some nasturtium greens at the very end because my garden is just overflowing with nasturtiums. And nasturtium greens, if you didn't know, they're kind of like a cross between arugula and spinach. And they wilt down nicely just like arugula and spinach. And I've been trying to eat a lot of them because I have them all over my garden. And then I added some whole wheat spaghetti just for variety and because this is my healthy dish. And there you go. So I'm gonna taste it. I've had this many times, like since the vegan month I made it many times because I liked it okay. It was one of my favorite dishes that I had in the vegan context. Let's see what I think of it outside of a vegan context. I like it with the whole wheat pasta. Yeah, one thing this dish really does have going for it is it does have a lot of dynamic flavors and it's made entirely with pantry staples. Like, sure, the fresh veggies you chuck in is just whatever you happen to have on hand, but you don't have to chuck in fresh veggies if you don't want to. I just found that it tastes really good with mushroom. The dish is surprisingly creamy, and that is not from cream, but from flour, really. And the cheesy flavor comes from the nutritional yeast and the mustard powder and a little bit the soy sauce as well. It's okay. Definitely outside of a vegan month context, it's not as good. It's okay. And thankfully it wasn't too much soy sauce to the point where it's just like unbearable. It's a little more soy sauce than it should have had, but I'd say I did a pretty good job making this, and still in the grand scheme of things, especially after having pasta every day for what is it now, I think this is my 22nd day of having pasta in a row. I'm gonna give this 5 out of 10. Okay, this is a dish from my husband's bachelor days. He invented it then, and then we made a couple tweaks since then, and it's a staple in our household. It's delicious. So basically, you saute some Italian sausage and some onions and mushrooms, and in this case, we used wine cap mushrooms from our own backyard. Do not just randomly pick random mushrooms from your backyard. You could die. We actually grew these from a kit. Anyway, mushrooms, onions, garlic, Calabrian chili, and sun-dried tomatoes, and you saute those down, and then you add the tortellini to the saucy stuff with some pasta water and top it with some hard cheese, and then you eat it. So yeah, this is my first time making this with our own homegrown wine cap mushrooms, but otherwise I have had this many times before, and it's amazing. You don't get any. So this is not short on flavor. It's like extremely flavorful, which is great. And the tortellini is nice and pillowy against the really strong flavors of the Calabrian chili and sun-dried tomato and the sausage. This is really hitting a need at the moment because I've been eating so much vegetarian food all month. Like this sausage, the meat is really nice. Yep, 10 out of 10, no complaints. Okay, cat.
Okay, my darling, can you please move?
This is the third cat, or maybe the fourth cat that I have featured in this portion of the video series.
This This is Thalia. She has diabetes.
All right, I wasn't actually planning on making spaghetti puttanesca during this month. I have made it a couple times before and I like it, and I already know I like it. I just wasn't planning on making it, but I had leftover anchovies and leftover olives in the fridge that I needed to get rid of, and like, that's the thing about this dish. It uses a lot of pantry staples, so I kind of already had the things required to make it anyway, so I decided to make it. I first became acquainted with this dish when I watched Lemony Snicket's series of unfortunate events on Netflix. The Baudelaire orphans made this dish for their captors, really, and they were very ungrateful, even though the kids went all out and made it all from scratch. But anyway, it is named after sex workers. I think the origin story is like, they would make this and the fragrance of all of these really rich aromatics would attract customers. And yeah, it's got a lot of really fragrant ingredients. You start with olive oil, in which you saute capers, olives, and anchovies. If you're sleeping on anchovies, don't. They are a really, really good component of pasta. They add so much depth. And it doesn't really taste fishy, it just tastes good. Anyway, anchovies, capers, olives, and garlic in olive oil. Saute that with red pepper flakes until it is very fragrant, and then you add tomatoes, and you cook that down while you boil your pasta, and then you combine the pasta and some parsley water and some hard cheese until it all comes together. And let's try it. Yeah, it's delightfully flavorful, but I would say overall quite briny. That's like my only complaint about this. I feel like it's supposed to be like on the more umami, salty spectrum of flavors, but just for me personally, I think I would prefer it if it were a little sweeter. Like, I used Kenji's recipe from Serious Eats, and solid recipes always from that guy and that blog in general. I think I just am not the biggest fan of puttanesca. Like, I would try to change it into a dish that it's not. Like, I would add tomato paste probably, or even just sugar straight up, just to bring it a little bit away from overly salty and savory. It is really tasty and very flavorful, and if you like a nice punchy, briny, umami forward, salty pasta dish, then you should try this dish. And like I said, it's really convenient to make because it comes together with pretty much all pantry staples. Anyway, I am so sick of pasta by now. I'm going to probably score this unfairly at 7 out of 10. It's probably better than that, but just after eating pasta every day for 25 days straight. Oh, this morning I also had to eat a bunch of leftover pesto pasta salad from a few days ago because my husband wouldn't eat the leftovers that I wanted him to eat. So I'm like, well, I guess I'll eat it. So all I've had today literally is pasta. That's how sick of pasta I am. But 7 out of 10, and that's being generous. Interesting. I don't know what all that shit is. Is it milk? Oh, weird. What is this? Okay, let's see what mystery color it is. Ew! It's Pepto-Bismol pink. Oh, that's nasty. Okay, so this off-brand instant mac and cheese was in my pantry, and I figured it's time. So let's see how this stuff tastes. Now, I actually have a fond nostalgia, sentimentality for the stovetop like Kraft mac and cheese or Annie's, which is superior. But microwave, in my experience, is not as good. Let's see. Okay. It kind of does scratch that little nostalgia itch. It's very salty. And I can taste the preservatives and artificialness of it. For nostalgia's sake, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. It is officially autumn, so let the pumpkin madness begin. This is a recipe for pumpkin gnocchi that I got from Delish, which unfortunately is behind a paywall, but I screenshotted the recipe before it blocked me out, so yeah, it looked interesting, so I decided to make it. Basically, I made gnocchi from scratch because I'm extra. You can always buy it, of course, if you're not me, but I made gnocchi by boiling a potato and then smashing it and combining it with flour and a little bit of egg and some salt, and then I rolled it and then I cut it and then I very badly shaped it with a fork. Not the way you're supposed to do it, but you know, some semblance of the proper shape. These look kind of more like what, those Korean rice cakes, like tteokbokki, whatever they're called. I've never had them before. See them all over the internet. Anyway, then you build the sauce by sauteing some Italian sausage and garlic and sage and tomato paste and chicken broth and pumpkin puree, and you cook that down for a while with some black pepper, salt, and nutmeg, and then you add a little bit of cream, a little bit of grated Parmesan cheese, and the gnocchi, and you stir it in, and you garnish with parsley and more grated parm. I think I listed everything. I am excited to try this, despite the fact that I've been having pasta every day for a month. Gnocchi feels a little different from pasta. I wanted to represent the many different kinds of pasta, and gnocchi it's kind of pasta, so I'm counting it. Oh yeah, this is a welcome, like it's pasta adjacent, but it feels different enough that I'm like relieved that it's not pasta. So I was skeptical. Because the dish had tomato paste, I was worried that the tomato paste would overpower the pumpkin flavor. It doesn't quite overpower it, though it does mask it a little bit. I wonder how this would taste without the tomato paste. It's good. Like, it might not taste as good, frankly, without the tomato paste. Tomato paste is just a magical ingredient. It's very dynamically flavored. You have the really strong, savory flavors of the tomato paste and the sausage and the garlic and the sweetness of the tomato paste as well, and the pumpkin. And the pumpkin adds this, because it's not so obviously pumpkin, it's more this background, what is that kind of note going on in there? I think if you served this to people and did not tell them there was pumpkin in it, they might not know. And then there's the funk of the cheese, but then the smoothness of the cream bringing it back, and the gnocchi also are very like rich and smooth and like bland, but pleasantly so because the sauce is so richly flavorful. The sage I'm not really tasting. I think it's again more like a background note, and the nutmeg also. I think it's more like a background note, which is fine. Like, you don't necessarily need to taste every single thing on its own. Like, sometimes flavors just all come together. I don't know if I'll make this again, but I do like it quite a bit. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Okay, I have made spaghetti carbonara many times before, so this isn't going to be a surprise to me. Basically, I have also made it on this channel before, but I did a variation that added black olive and tomato. I'll link the video below if you're interested in that variation. But I stuck to a slightly more classic version of carbonara here. You start by rendering down some bacon. Yes, it's supposed to be guanciale, don't come at me in the comments. I went to the bougie grocery store and they had all different kinds of fancy snobby cured Italian meats, but no guanciale, so I used bacon. And while you're doing that, you mix a sauce of eggs and pecorino romano, and I added a little black pepper preemptively to that, as well as some salt. Then you boil the spaghetti, and then after your bacon is rendered, you skim off most of the fat, and then you add the spaghetti, and you add the egg cheese mixture, and you whisk vigorously off the heat so that it does not curdle. Sadly, mine curdled ever so slightly. It's pretty hard to get it right, and it's very hard to get it right if you're trying to film with one hand while you're cooking with the other. Anyway, it's still fine. And then you put it on a plate and garnish with more black pepper and more pecorino. And anyway, like I said, I've had this many times before. I think this is a great breakfast pasta because it's basically bacon and eggs. And the black pepper really helps counter all the, it's very rich otherwise, but the black pepper helps bring it back slightly. Yeah, this is just a very solid pasta. I didn't make this particular version that well, again, because I was busy filming, and I'm quite sick of pasta by now. Ordinarily, I would give this probably a 9 out of 10. At the moment, I'm thinking like a 6 out of 10. I'm just so tired of pasta. Alright, it is the second to last day of this pasta month, and I just don't give a f anymore, so I gave myself the tiniest little serving of pasta with Arrabbiata. I had pizza this morning. I am already full. I do not want to eat pasta. But This sauce is actually extremely similar to what used to be my standard vegetarian pasta sauce that I would make all the time when I lived alone. There's like a few little subtle differences though. So basically, you start by sauteing some onion and garlic in olive oil, and then you add tomato paste, red pepper flakes, black pepper, fresh basil, that's one difference, I never would add fresh basil to my sauce, Italian seasoning, a little sugar, and lemon juice. That's another thing that I would never add to my sauce. Then you add tomato puree, red wine, I did add that to my sauce, and then you just simmer that for about 15 minutes, and then you stir in a little fresh chopped parsley at the end. It's pretty simple and basic, but that can be good. I'm going to freeze the rest of this sauce and make shells with it at a later date when I'm no longer sick of pasta. Anyway, this is probably going to taste very good, like, to be fair. I know I'm shitting all over it, but I think this is going to be very good. I tasted the sauce and it's amazing, so. Yeah, very solid vegetarian pasta sauce. The red wine really brings it to a nice level of richness that you won't find in your basic, like, pomodoro pasta sauce. And the extra red pepper flakes are nice. You know, I am getting that hit of lemon. It makes the whole thing a lot brighter, but then the sugar brings it back so it's not sour. Usually when I would make this version of my pasta sauce, I would never follow a recipe, I'd never measure anything, but I used an actual recipe and it is good. It is a little better for it, a little better than the pasta sauce I used to make. Yeah, if I had not been eating pasta every day for a month, I would rate this 10 out of 10. Right now, when I'm not hungry and I have had pasta every day for a month, I'm going to rate it 7 out of 10. It's still really, really good. Only one day left! Okay, it is the last day of this pasta month. I'm most excited that it is the end, and not necessarily that I'm about to eat this pasta. I am kind of excited for this pasta. It's a zucchini pasta that I saw for a while ago on the internet, and it looked interesting. Anyway, you start by deep frying some rounds of zucchini. I used yellow squash because it's superior to zucchini, and then you set those aside. Then you build a sauce with a little olive oil, garlic. Yvain, she almost knocked down Miney's picture. Then you build a sauce with some olive oil, garlic, and half of the deep fried zucchini rounds. You mash them into a sauce with the garlic and the olive oil and some pasta water while you're cooking your spaghetti. And then you add the spaghetti and then more pasta water and black pepper, I forgot to mention. And then you have to emulsify the pecorino into the sauce, and it was just not emulsifying for me. I don't know what happened. I had the heat off like you're supposed to, I had it spread, it just immediately seized up and would not emulsify, and I'm just like, ugh. And so I tried adding more, and then it did it again, and so I gave up and just put it on the top. So I'll take that into account when I evaluate this. You top the whole thing with the leftover fried zucchini pieces and some torn basil, and I'm gonna eat it, because I'm done. So that bite had no zucchini in it, but I had like a lot of the fried oil and garlic flavor in there. Let me get one with a bite of zucchini. Okay. Yeah, that's really good with the zucchini in there. To be fair, I messed this up a little bit. The sauce should be creamier with the cheese incorporated into the sauce instead of just kind of scattered only on top. But I really like this. It's a good way of tasting zucchini. There's basically 2 whole zucchinis in this one serving of pasta. And the deep frying of the zucchini, I was kind of skeptical about that. It just seemed like a lot of extra work, but I really like the browned flavor that it adds, and the deep fried flavor, that is a flavor that it adds to this whole dish. And despite the fact that I didn't quite emulsify the pecorino enough in the sauce is still nice and creamy from the starches in the zucchini and the starchy pasta water. Yeah, if you don't like zucchini, or you dislike zucchini, I don't think you'll like this pasta, but it's nice. Within the context of this pasta month where I was eating a lot of like creamy, carby dishes all month, this is nice in that it has 2 servings of vegetables in it. Even though I'm sick of pasta, this is delightfully refreshing. The fresh basil is really nice. So yeah, I'm gonna give this a 8.5 out of 10. I think that's my first rating with a decimal point. Well, anyway, I think I've proved in this month that you can have too much of a good thing. I have done other months where I had like salad every day for a month, or curry every day for a month, or sandwiches every day for a month, and I don't remember them being as hard as this one. And I think because this one I was a lot more rigid in the kinds of dishes I was making, I just got so sick of it and I felt so bloated, especially the final 10 days of this month, and I am so excited to not be eating pasta every day moving forward. But I am glad that I ticked some of the pastas off my pasta bucket list, so that was good. Anyway, maybe I'll do another one of these I ate X every day for a month challenges once I've forgotten how annoying it is to wear makeup every day and film every day and eat the same thing every day.